Chosen one, lean in for a moment. There is something stirring in the unseen. Something that has been whispering your name long before you even realized heaven was calling you again. You didn't stumble onto this message by chance. You weren't randomly brought here by curiosity or accident. You were summoned. Heaven has chosen you again, and this time, the confirmation carries a weight you can feel in your spirit, even before the words leave my mouth. There is a holy seriousness resting on your life right now. A shift, a tension, a pull. You felt it in the quiet moments when your heart suddenly became still, when the air felt heavier than usual, when a thought or memory rose inside you, and you knew without being told that something divine was moving toward you. The feeling that something is about to break something, is about to open something, is about to be revealed. And I need you to hear this clearly. God is reaffirming your assignment, not replacing it, not abandoning it, not giving it to someone else, reaffirming it. Because somewhere along the way, maybe through disappointment, maybe through exhaustion, maybe through delay, maybe through betrayal, you began to question whether heaven had moved on from you, or whether you had somehow fallen behind. But listen carefully. Heaven hasn't shifted away from you. In fact, heaven has circled back for you. There are moments in a chosen one's life when God sends a fresh confirmation, not because you lost your value, but because the warfare surrounding your calling became so intense that God needed to whisper again, yes, this is still yours. You've been battling questions no one heard. You've been fighting silent wars no one understood. You've been carrying weight that few people even noticed. And even in that place, especially in that place, heaven has chosen you again. Something is unfolding around you right now, something you can sense, even if you cannot articulate it. Your name has been spoken in rooms you've never entered. Your destiny has been stirred by hands you cannot see. The assignment that felt paused is being reactivated. The doors that felt sealed are trembling again. The spiritual mantle you thought was too heavy is being lifted and fitted to your shoulders with fresh grace. In the next moments of this message, you will understand why God has returned to reaffirm your calling, what He is preparing you for, and what is about to awaken inside you as heaven reactivates your destiny. This is your confirmation, your divine reminder that you are not forgotten, you are not replaced, and you are not done. Heaven has chosen you again, because what's happening around you right now isn't random. It isn't emotional. It isn't just a thought crossing your mind. This stirring you feel, this inner pull, this quiet awareness, it's coming from a higher place than your own understanding. There is a divine voice behind this moment, a holy intention woven into every word reaching your spirit right now. What you're hearing is not simply encouragement. It is not motivation. It is not even just revelation. It is transmission. Heaven is transmitting something into your spirit, something that was prepared for you long before you reached this moment. And as these words touch you, you may feel it, a resonance, a vibration, a knowing. Because this message is not spoken to you. It is being spoken into you. There is a reason the atmosphere around your life has shifted. A reason your heart has been more sensitive recently. A reason your spirit has been picking up signals you can't fully explain. When heaven decides to reaffirm a calling, it does not whisper into the air. It sends a voice. It sends a sign. It sends a word that pierces deeper than human understanding. And in this moment, the Spirit of God leans toward you with intention, not to remind you of where you failed, but of where you're destined. Not to highlight what you lost, but what is returning. Not to expose your weakness, but to reignite the strength He placed in you before you were even born. The divine realm is closer to you now than it has been in a long time. You may not have realized it, But the very fact that your heart is open enough to receive this message is proof that heaven has already begun its work. God doesn't reaffirm an assignment unless something in the spirit is shifting, unless the season is changing, unless the path is opening, unless the appointed time is drawing near. There is a seriousness in his voice right now, a tenderness and a firmness intertwined. This is not merely reassurance. This is recommissioning, a divine restoration of authority, confidence, and clarity. You were marked for this before your first breath, and though life tried to wear down your spirit, God is speaking fresh breath into the original assignment He placed on your life. He's saying, I have not changed my mind about you. Feel the weight of that for a moment. Let it settle deep in your chest. Every setback, every disappointment, every season of silence, none of it disqualified you. None of it canceled what He wrote over you. Heaven has returned to declare what was always true, that your purpose remains intact, your calling remains active, and your destiny remains protected. This message carries divine authority because its origin is divine. The words are human, but the direction is holy. The flow is earthly, but the intention is heavenly. You are being brought into alignment with what God has already decided about you. And now that the divine source has spoken, the revelation itself can unfold. What is unfolding over your life now is not merely a gentle shift, it is a spiritual reactivation, a realignment, a divine reset that signals something heaven has been preparing long before you recognize the change. This reaffirmation of your assignment is not just God reminding you of what you were called to do. It is God reopening a chapter that the enemy tried to close prematurely. And as this chapter reopens, the atmosphere around your life begins to tremble with purpose. There is something coming toward you that carries weight, something sacred, something destined. And though you may not see it yet with your natural eyes, your spirit has already begun to detect it. That quiet alertness you've been feeling, that subtle inner awakening, that strange peace mixed with holy anticipation. Those sensations are spiritual signals that heaven is drawing near. The prophecy that is unfolding is this: heaven is reactivating what was placed inside you. But this time the activation will not fade. This time the clarity will stay. This time the direction will unfold. This time the doors will not slam shut. This time what begins will complete. The season you are stepping into is marked by return restoration and recommissioning. God is placing His hand back on the very parts of your destiny that were attacked, delayed, or buried. The calling you thought was paused is being renewed. The gift you thought grew silent is being reawakened. The purpose you thought you failed is actually being strengthened by everything you survived. In the spirit, it looks like a sealed scroll being reopened, a scroll with your name etched into it. For a time, the scroll was kept closed, not because you were unworthy, but because the timing was not yet aligned. But now, heaven is breaking the seal again. You may sense this in unusual ways: a sudden desire for clarity, a renewed hunger for purpose, an unexpected shift in your emotions, a quiet boldness rising in moments where you used to feel uncertain, a feeling that something important is getting closer, even if you can't see the evidence yet. These are not coincidences. They are the early signs of a divine unveiling. Imagine yourself standing in a dimly lit hallway. For years, the doors on both sides felt locked. But now you begin to hear the soft clicking of latches releasing. Light begins to leak through the spaces beneath the doors. Air begins to move. The walls feel different. The atmosphere changes. And without trying, without forcing anything, without even knocking, doors begin to open on their own. This is what heaven is orchestrating now. Something that once felt heavy is becoming lighter. Something that once felt confusing is becoming clearer. Something that once felt inaccessible is being placed within reach. But the most powerful part of this prophecy is not the external shifting. It is the internal awakening. Your identity is being restored. Your confidence is being rebuilt. Your spiritual sensitivity is being heightened. Your discernment is being sharpened. Your courage is being returned to you. God is not just reaffirming your assignment, He is reaffirming you. Your worth, your voice, your presence, your contribution, your destiny. And here is the mystery wrapped inside this prophecy. What's coming next will feel both familiar and brand new. Familiar, because the calling has always been yours. Brand new, because you have never been this refined, this aware, this aligned, or this spiritually ready. What once overwhelmed you will now empower you. What once intimidated you will now activate you. What once felt impossible will now flow with ease, because heaven is partnering with you in ways you have not experienced before. You will feel guided, not pushed, strengthened, not strained, lifted, not burdened, protected, not exposed. The prophecy unfolding over your life is not vague. It is precise. It is intentional. It is divinely timed. And as the assignment reawakens, so will every gift, every authority, and every spiritual instinct connected to that assignment. You are entering a moment where heaven reclaims what belongs to you and places it back into your hands. When God reaffirms an assignment, it is never an isolated event. It is never just a message, a feeling, or an emotional moment. It is part of a deeper spiritual pattern, one that has repeated throughout Scripture, throughout history, and throughout the lives of every person heaven has ever chosen. To understand what is unfolding over your life now, you must understand the depth behind the divine movement you're experiencing. Because what God is doing in you is not random. It is rhythmic. It follows a spiritual architecture. It follows a heavenly blueprint. And that blueprint always begins with identity. Before God reactivates a calling, He first restores the foundation of who you are. Not who the world told you to be, not who trauma shaped you into, not who people labeled you as, but the identity that heaven wrote into your spirit long before the world ever saw your face. This is why your spirit has been stirring. This is why you've been feeling things you can't explain. God has been touching the deepest layers of who you are, your roots, your essence, your original spiritual design. Because your identity is not a small thing. It's the doorway to destiny. Every divine assignment is built on identity. You cannot step into the fullness of what God called you to do until you step into the truth of who God says you are. And this is the first depth of the prophecy. Heaven is reconnecting you to yourself. The version of you that's courageous. The version of you that's spiritually discerning. The version of you that's obedient, sensitive, powerful, and aligned. The version of you that the enemy tried to bury under disappointment, betrayal, rejection, and delay. You are meeting that version of yourself again, slowly, gently, powerfully. But identity is only the beginning. The second layer of this prophecy revolves around timing. Divine timing is not just a moment, it is a season. It's the alignment of events, people, environments, opportunities, and inner readiness. It's when everything layered in your past starts converging into your present, so it can launch you into your future. For a long time, it wasn't that the calling disappeared. It simply wasn't time. You were growing. You were being refined. You were being pruned. You were being positioned. You were being hidden, not forgotten. Heaven was preparing you for what it had prepared for you. And now the timing has shifted. The atmosphere around your life carries the spiritual equivalent of sunrise. A light has begun to break through the horizon, not all at once, but gradually soft at first, then stronger, then unmistakable. The darkness is thinning. The confusion is clearing. The heaviness is lifting. This is how divine timing feels in the Spirit's slow illumination until everything becomes visible. This is the second depth of the prophecy. You have stepped into an appointed moment. Not chosen by others, not chosen by circumstances, chosen by God. But there is a third layer, perhaps the most profound. This layer is about transformation. Real assignment always requires transformation. It is impossible to carry a divine calling while remaining the same person you were before the calling awakened. Every chosen one experiences a season where the internal shifts before the external breaks open. This is why you walked through storms. This is why the pruning hurt. This is why the silence felt long. This is why people walked away. This is why doors closed. This is why the pressure seemed relentless. It was all transformation disguised as discomfort. Every loss taught you what cannot be taken from you. Every delay taught you what cannot be rushed. Every betrayal taught you who cannot go with you. Every closed door taught you where you do not belong. Every unanswered prayer taught you that God has better plans. Nothing was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single night, not a single moment of questioning. Heaven used all of it to shape the version of you who could carry the weight of this reaffirmed assignment. This is the third depth of the prophecy. Your trials form the strength your destiny requires. And finally, there is the fourth layer, alignment. Heaven is not only awakening your purpose, it is aligning your surroundings, relationships, resources, and pathways. Spiritual alignment feels like this. Opportunities appear without forcing. Ideas flow without striving. Connections form without chasing. Peace settles without explanation. Signs appear without searching. Doors open without knocking. This is because heaven aligns what belongs to you and removes what doesn't. So the deeper meaning behind your current season, the spiritual backbone of this entire prophecy is simple, but profound. God is not just reaffirming your assignment. He is preparing you to walk in it with clarity, authority, and divine backing. Everything is building toward activation. Every layer is converging. Every spiritual thread is being woven together. And now signs will begin to appear, subtle, precise, unmistakable. As heaven reaffirms your assignment, signs begin to appear, some subtle, some undeniable, all carrying the unmistakable fingerprint of God. These signs are not coincidences. They are spiritual markers, gentle indicators that your life is shifting from waiting to awakening, from observing to stepping in, from questioning to knowing. You may not have recognized them at first, but as you hear them spoken, something in your spirit will say, "That's been happening to me." That resonance is not imagination, it's confirmation. Here are the signs heaven often releases when a chosen one's assignment is being reactivated. 1. A deep internal stirring with no external trigger lately. You felt something move inside your spirit. A restlessness, a quiet excitement. A sense that something is shifting even if nothing in your physical world has changed. This inner stirring is one of the clearest signs that heaven is breathing on your assignment again. Your spirit knows before your mind understands. Your heart senses before your eyes see. This kind of stirring is heaven's way of saying, "Mas, prepare. Something is near." 2. A renewed sensitivity to God's presence. You may find yourself feeling God more intensely, even in ordinary moments. A sudden wave of peace, an unexpected moment of clarity, a heaviness that lifts without explanation, a warmth in your chest during prayer or reflection. This increased sensitivity is not random. When God reactivates an assignment, He draws nearer to guide, strengthen, and prepare you. 3. Sudden changes in connections or relationships. People may drift away. Certain connections may weaken. New people may appear unexpectedly. This is spiritual alignment at work. God removes voices that can't go with you and brings in voices that help you rise. You may not understand the shifts yet, but they're positioning you for elevation and preventing interference. 4. Closed doors that lead to unexpected redirection. Something you thought would work suddenly stops. A path you relied on becomes blocked. An opportunity you wanted disappears. At first, this feels like loss, but it's protection. God shuts the wrong doors before opening the right ones. These redirections are signs that your path is being cleared for the assignment ahead. 5. Unusual synchronicities and repeated messages. You may hear the same phrase, idea, or scripture multiple times from different places. You may encounter symbols that follow you, like keys, light doors, numbers, or certain animals. These repetitions are not accidental. They are heaven's highlighters. When God wants to make something unmistakable, He repeats it until you recognize it. Chapter 6. A quiet, growing boldness. This one is subtle but powerful. You begin to feel stronger, more capable, more willing to step forward, more sure of who you are. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence. Not arrogance, alignment. This boldness is your spirit stepping into its renewed identity, preparing you for what God is about to place in your hands. All these signs together form a picture. God is not just speaking, He is moving. Not just guiding, He is aligning. Not just calling, He is confirming. You are not imagining the shift. You are not misunderstanding the signs. They are happening because heaven has chosen you again. And now that the signs have begun to appear, it's time to understand what lies ahead, the hidden challenges that often arise right before breakthrough. Before every divine activation, there is a stretching, a tension, a quiet resistance that tries to rise around you, not to stop you, but to strengthen you. These hidden challenges are not punishments. They are not signs that you are off track. They are spiritual pressure points designed to prepare you for the weight of the assignment that is being placed back into your hands. If you've felt these challenges recently, it is not because you're failing. It's because you're close. One, the challenge of sudden opposition. When heaven reaffirms your assignment, the atmosphere around your life becomes spiritually active. Certain people may suddenly misunderstand you. Some may distance themselves or react strangely. Doors that once opened easily may briefly tighten. Situations may arise that seem designed to frustrate or distract you. This is not sabotage. It is spiritual resistance that appears when your destiny begins to wake up. Opposition often increases right before breakthrough, not because you are weak, but because what you carry is becoming visible in the spirit. Two, the challenge of emotional fluctuation. You may find your emotions rising and falling without clear cause. One day you feel strong, focused, ready. The next day, you feel drained or uncertain. This emotional turbulence is not instability. It is the internal recalibration that happens when your spirit shifts into a new season faster than your mind can process. Your spirit is awakening. Your soul is catching up. Your body is adjusting. This temporary imbalance is a sign of spiritual acceleration. 3. The challenge of unexpected delays. Even as God reaffirms your assignment, certain things may still feel slower than you hoped. Unexpected pauses, quiet periods, or moments of waiting may appear out of nowhere. These delays are not denials. They are divine pacing. They ensure that what you're stepping into is built to last. God slows you down only to align you with something greater. Four, the challenge of inner doubt. This may be the most subtle challenge of all. You may find old insecurities resurfacing. Questions you thought you healed from may echo again. Am I really called? Am I ready for this? What if I fail again? This doubt isn't coming because you're weak. It's coming because the enemy senses what's waking inside of you. Doubt often tries to reappear right when identity is being restored. But remember this: every time doubt rises, it rises weaker than before. 5. The challenge of quiet isolation. You may notice your circle getting smaller. You may feel alone, even in a crowded room. Conversations may not resonate the way they once did. This isolation is not abandonment. It is consecration. God pulls you away from noise so you can hear Him clearly. He removes distractions so your spirit can become sharp. He separates you so you can rise without interference. This quiet season is preparation, not punishment. All these hidden challenges share one truth. They appear when heaven is preparing to reveal something in you. They are indicators that the transition is real. They are confirmations that the assignment is active. They are the final tightening of the bow before the arrow is released. And while these challenges may feel heavy at times, they are not meant to break you. They are meant to build the resilience required for what's coming next. And what comes next is not just endurance, it is instruction. Clear divine guidance for how to move in this season of reactivation. Now that the signs have appeared and the challenges have revealed themselves, the heavens shift from confirmation to instruction. Because whenever God reaffirms an assignment, He doesn't just remind you of who you are, He begins to guide you into who you are becoming. This is the moment where the divine blueprint opens. This is where direction flows. This is where heaven lays out the steps that activate destiny. And these instructions are not heavy. They are not burdensome. They are not meant to pressure you. They are meant to prepare you. Listen closely, because these next steps are the spiritual keys that will carry you into your next chapter. 1. Return to alignment through stillness. Before movement comes alignment. Before action comes clarity. God instructs you first to quiet the noise around you so you can hear Him without interference. This doesn't mean withdrawing from life. It means creating intentional moments of stillness each day, moments where your spirit can breathe, listen, and receive. Stillness is not inactivity. Stillness is receptivity. When you quiet the world, heaven becomes audible. This is where direction sharpens. This is where divine nudges become obvious. This is where your spirit tunes itself to God's frequency. 2. Strengthen your discernment. Your next season requires sharper spiritual senses. Not every open door is for you, and not every opportunity is aligned with your calling. God is instructing you to listen beyond surface-level impressions. You will feel discernment rising in 3 ways. A quiet no in your spirit when something isn't right. A sudden peace when something aligns. A tightening in your chest when your spirit is warning you. These signals matter. Do not ignore them. Discernment is God's shield around your destiny. 3. Release what heaven is removing. One of the hardest instructions is this: let go of what God is taking out of your life. Not everything that started with you can continue with you. Some relationships, habits, environments, and attachments were necessary for your growth, but are incompatible with where you're going. When heaven removes something, it is never loss, it is protection. When heaven closes a door, it is never rejection, it is redirection. Do not cling to what God is trying to release. Your hands must be free for what He is placing next. 4. Walk boldly in small steps. The next instruction is not dramatic. It is simple, steady obedience. God is not asking for giant leaps. He is asking for daily steps, small acts of courage, tiny actions in alignment with your calling. Every small step creates spiritual momentum. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for full clarity. Do not wait to feel completely ready. Heaven moves when you move. Progress begins when you take the first step. Faith is not waiting, it is walking. 5. Speak life over your assignment. Your words shape the atmosphere around your destiny. God is instructing you to stop speaking fear, doubt, and defeat, and to begin speaking alignment, strength, and expectation. Your spirit responds to your language. Your environment responds to your declarations. Your mind responds to your confession. Speak to your assignment like it is living, because it is. Say things like, I am equipped. I am guided. I am aligned. I am prepared. I am strengthened for this season. Words are not empty, they are spiritual seeds. 6. Guard your energy and anointing. Your calling makes you valuable, which means you cannot give your energy everywhere. This is a season of intentional boundaries. God is instructing you to protect your peace, your attention, your focus, and your spirit. You cannot pour into everyone. You cannot say yes to everything. You cannot allow chaos to drain you. Your assignment requires strength, not exhaustion. Guard your spirit with honor. Guard your time with wisdom. Guard your mind with vigilance. 7. Trust the unfolding, even when you can't yet see it. This may be the most important instruction of all trust. Not blind trust, not naive trust, divine trust. The kind of trust that knows God is ahead of you, arranging details you cannot see. The kind of trust that knows delayed is not denied. The kind of trust that believes that if God reaffirmed your assignment, He will also carry you through it. You don't need the full blueprint, just the next step. You don't need to understand everything, just obey the whisper. You don't need to feel strong, God will strengthen you as you go. All these instructions point to one truth. You are being prepared, not pressured. Guided, not pushed. Strengthened, not stretched thin. Elevated, not exposed. The divine hand that called you is the same hand that will carry you. And now that you have your instructions, heaven begins its next movement: protection. Surrounding you, shielding you, covering you. As heaven reaffirms your assignment, something powerful begins to surround you. Something you may not see with your eyes, but you will feel in your spirit. Divine protection increases. The atmosphere around your life becomes guarded. The spiritual realm shifts in your favor, placing a hedge around your mind, your spirit, your path, and your destiny. This protection is not passive. It is active, intentional, and deeply personal. Because when God places His hand back on your assignment, He also places His shield around your journey. 1. A covering over your spirit. You may begin to notice an unusual calm within you, even during moments that would have unsettled you in the past. This peace is not coming from you. It is being placed on you. It is the evidence that heaven has strengthened the walls around your spirit. Where you once felt vulnerable, you now feel guarded. Where you once felt anxious, you now feel grounded. Where you once felt exposed, you now feel held. This internal peace is divine armor. 2. A shield around your path. One of the ways God protects His chosen is by rerouting their steps. He closes paths that would have harmed you. He blocks access to places that would drain your spirit. He interrupts plans that were never aligned with your purpose. What may feel like inconvenience is actually intervention. What may feel like delay is actually divine shielding. God protects you even when you do not realize danger was near. 3. Invisible barriers against spiritual attacks. As your assignment activates, the enemy becomes aware, but God becomes louder. You may feel moments of pressure, but they do not break you. You may feel moments of heaviness, but they do not linger. You may feel moments of confusion, but clarity returns quickly. This is because heaven has established a spiritual perimeter around you. Attacks may come, but they lose their impact. Weapons may form, but they cannot prosper. Resistance may rise, but it collapses before it reaches your spirit. God is not just protecting your life, He is protecting your calling. 4. Guidance through intuition and discernment. Another form of divine protection is the sudden knowing, the inner check, the quiet whisper, the quick pull in your spirit. It's the don't go there. Don't trust that. Not this time, not that person. This intuition is not random. It is heaven's navigation system. God guides you by nudging your spirit away from danger and toward alignment. Every time you feel that gentle warning, know this: you are being protected. 5. Angelic assistance in your surroundings. Though unseen, you are not walking alone. Heaven deploys spiritual support in seasons of recommissioning. You may feel a warmth in moments of prayer, a sudden sense of presence when you are weary, a lightness after waking from heavy dreams, an unexplained comfort in moments of uncertainty. Angelic presence is real, and it increases when God prepares His chosen for greater purpose. You are being watched over more closely than you know. 6. Assurance through divine nearness. God doesn't just protect you, He stays near you, sometimes through peace, sometimes through conviction, sometimes through sudden clarity, sometimes through a whisper that says, "I'm here." This nearness is not seasonal, it is purposeful. Because God does not reaffirm an assignment and then step away. He reaffirms it and then surrounds you so that nothing can steal what He is restoring. This protection is the womb of your transformation, the safe place where God strengthens you before revealing what comes next. And what comes next is powerful. The transformation, fulfillment, and awakening that your spirit has been sensing. Everything you've walked through, every sign, every stirring, every challenge, every moment of divine protection has been leading you toward this transformation. Not surface transformation, not temporary emotional uplift, but deep, spiritual, foundational transformation that shifts the entire landscape of your life. This is the part of your journey where heaven doesn't just touch you, it rebuilds you. You are stepping into a version of yourself that you have never met before. A version refined by fire, not broken by it. A version shaped by storms, not drowned in them. A version strengthened by pressure, not crushed by it. And as this transformation unfolds, fulfillment begins to rise. 1. Transformation in your identity. The first shift happens internally. Suddenly, you no longer see yourself through the lens of old wounds, old fears, or old limitations. Your self-perception begins to change quietly but powerfully. You feel more grounded, more certain, more aware of your value, more connected to who you truly are. Identity is the soil of destiny, and God has been tilling that soil so your true identity can emerge. What once felt like insecurity now feels like clarity. What once felt like inadequacy now feels like alignment. You are becoming who heaven always knew you were. 2. Transformation in your spirit. Your spiritual sensitivity sharpens. Your intuition becomes clearer. Your discernment strengthens. Your inner voice becomes confident. Where you once felt spiritually drained, you now feel spiritually alive. The fog that used to cloud your decisions begins to lift. You no longer respond to life from a place of fear. You respond from a place of wisdom. Your spirit rises, not with noise, but with depth. 3. Transformation in your purpose. Purpose begins to take shape in ways you didn't expect. Ideas flow. Opportunities appear. Motivation increases. Clarity becomes your companion. What used to feel overwhelming now feels possible. What used to intimidate you now energizes you. What used to silence you now activates you. Your gifts begin to glow again. Your calling begins to breathe again. Your assignment begins to walk toward you instead of away from you. This is the moment where destiny stops being a distant concept and becomes a real tangible path, opening under your feet. 4. Transformation in your atmosphere. The people around you begin to shift. Some drift away because they cannot connect with your new spiritual frequency. Others are drawn toward you because they recognize the elevation happening in your life. Your environment becomes more peaceful. Your boundaries become stronger. Your standards become clearer. You begin to feel the difference between what drains you and what grows you, and you choose growth. 5. Fulfillment of the long-carried promise. And then, fulfillment begins to break through. Not all at once, but in waves, a restored sense of direction, a renewed sense of purpose, a surprising opportunity that aligns perfectly, a door that opens without struggle, a prayer answered in a way you didn't expect, a heaviness lifted overnight, a confirmation so strong you can't deny it. Fulfillment is not just about receiving something, it's about becoming someone aligned, someone ready, someone spiritually mature, someone who can carry what they once prayed for. This is the season where the harvest begins, not because you forced it, but because you finally match it. 6. The culmination of the prophecy. The transformation you're stepping into is the fulfillment of everything God has been preparing you for. The reaffirmed assignment becomes real, not just in prophecy but in practice. Not just in prayer, but in manifestation. You begin to walk differently, think differently, choose differently, live differently. You are not entering a better season, you are entering a higher version of yourself. This is the moment where heaven whispers, "Now." This is the time. And before we close this sacred message, heaven has one more gift for you, words to seal, affirm, and empower this prophecy over your life. As this divine message comes to a close, allow your spirit to settle. Let everything you've heard throughout this prophetic word sink deeper than thought. Let it reach the places inside you that have waited, longed, ached, and prayed for confirmation. Heaven has spoken over you. The assignment has been reaffirmed. The path has been reopened. The grace has been poured out again. But before you step forward, heaven gives you one final gift. The words you will speak over yourself, words that align you with the very destiny God is awakening. These affirmations are more than statements. They are spiritual activations, declarations that set the tone of your next chapter, seeds that reshape the atmosphere around your life. Speak them out loud. Whisper them. Write them. Carry them. Let them become the language of your spirit. Affirmation. I walk in divine alignment. What is meant for me will not pass me. Say this until your heart believes it, until the fear of missing out dissolves, until the truth sinks into your bones that God's timing is perfect and you are stepping into it. Affirmation 2. I am strengthened, equipped, and chosen for this assignment. Not by accident, not by luck, not by human approval, but by divine selection. Heaven sees you as capable even on the days you feel weak. Affirmation 3. I move forward with peace, clarity, and unwavering faith. Peace is your compass. Clarity is your guide. Faith is your foundation. You do not walk blindly, you walk boldly. Affirmation. What God has reaffirmed in me will manifest in His perfect way. This removes pressure. It releases striving. It reminds you that manifestation is God's work. Obedience and trust are yours. Can now receive this blessing, not as mere words, but as a spiritual seal over everything heaven has spoken. Final blessing, may the path before you brighten with every step you take. May your spirit stay sensitive to God's voice and your heart remain anchored in His peace. May every door that was meant to open swing wide with ease. May every distraction fall away, every attack lose its power, and every fear dissolve before the strength rising within you. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your spirit with courage. I bless your journey with divine acceleration. I bless your purpose with heavenly confirmation. From this moment forward, may you walk with the quiet confidence of someone chosen, protected, guided, and empowered by God Himself. Your assignment has been reaffirmed. Your destiny has been awakened. Your season has begun. Go forward in faith. Heaven has chosen you again.